Good evening, everybody. I'm Harold Page, alcoholic.
Hey, Harold.
And I'm always be an alcoholic. If you one of them, find out you're one, you're going to always be one too. And I'm okay with that today. Thank you, Wallace. We pick at one another times. And I picked him about, he drank that skin tightening, hair growing liquor. I didn't get a hold of none of that, you know. He don't show his age, you know. I drank a lot of that wrinkling liquor too. You know, the God that I didn't know nothing about intervened in my life through some trusted servants, showed me how to get sober and stay sober since April 6, 1985. That's why I'm here. And haven't craved or wanted to drink since. When I finally surrendered, I started winning. I believe that can happen to anybody. But now, I've had a lot of people I've met through the years, good people that's helped me and still do. But I've tried AA a little while to fellowship. That ain't gonna get you sober. Higher power can and did. Could and would if he was sought. And when I sought that, got drinking hospitalizing liquor there and laying up in intensive care. Them old boys had told me down there, one old man that passed away with about the same amount of time that Wallace had. He had told me that, boy, when you surrender, you're gonna start winning. And I have been winning ever since. And fortunate to have a wife, the same one I've had for 54 years. Yeah. We've been married 54 years, and she's been in Al-Anon for 34 years. And in her story, she mentioned sometime about our marriage was on and off. When he'd get on one, I'd get off. You know. She never drank or anything, but her being in that program has helped me. That's a spiritual program too. It don't have nothing to do so much. People think they go back there and talk about us, but I learned right off Al-Anon is a great thing. And all the other 12-step programs too, you know, it helps. I couldn't relate to some of the other ones maybe they have out there, but AA's for me. And I wasn't going to tell that story that he mentioned that, about that snake, but I was up at Oak Valley the other night. Some of y'all know where that's at. Yeah, one thing that I missed, through the years coming down here, see a lot of faces and people that I know have met through this program. I miss seeing Tom sit over there too, and I'm sure you folks do too. The last time I was down here and visited is when Wallace got the chip 54 years, and Tom couldn't be here that night, you know. And then Tom Wallace come down to Samaritan Colony and over around there. He goes to a lot of places, you know, and but get to meet new people every time I come down here too. We live in South Stanley County, there in Albemarle. Steve spoke over at our picnic, and he knows that place there, that building. It was back during this flood, Florence, and that other part of that rain that come in. We had right at 40 inches of water in there. And, oh yeah, even the propane tank was outside. It was about 3/4 full. It was floating around out there. And the only thing holding it was that little copper line, and it flattened it. But the knob was on. I'm glad that if that thing would have broke and something would have happened around, there wouldn't have been a building. The only reason we got a building up there left is because it's got masonry walls. If we had to strip her out, I mean, ceiling and all. But we rent that and use it. It's not like having a big facility like this that someone else manages and keeps up. We do those things ourselves, but you know, stuff like that helps pull us together and hold us together. We've done that before, and I've seen other groups do it. I'm glad we're there. This recorder, I do remember. I hope it's not the same one, because I knocked it off the last time I did. If y'all had a repair bill, you send that to Wallace over there. He'll take care of that, you know. But you got to pot up here, and I see you take care of broken stuff, I reckon. A jar, you know, we drank out of a jar before I did too. But I was raised over there, and my wife also, and she lived across the creek. We didn't have tracks up there where I was raised. I was raised in West Stanley County. That's right close to the Cabarrus line. And this little place is about 45 miles due east of Charlotte, out in the country. And I was raised in a little community over there called Finger, right next to Thumb. And, but I was raised on down the road in the suburbs of Finger, about 3.5 miles down in the woods. And little old dirt road, you know, and everybody around there was like that, kin folks all around. There's 3 creeks running together down there. This beautiful place. Some of that land up there now is probably as expensive as some of this around here, you know. Beautiful. It really is beautiful. Just hilly, rocky, and, you know, hard to farm and all like that, but it's easy to make liquor on. You know, with all that spring water, they bottle it up and sell that stuff now, you know, that kind of water. No factories putting pollutants in it and stuff, but so they made corn liquor, and I was brought up around it, learned how to make liquor, didn't know any other way, and everybody around there did, kin folks and probably some of the preachers, you know, made a lot of corn liquor, and they prided themselves on how to make it. And I'll tell this joke that he mentioned, this, and it reminded me of me when I started drinking, and this old boy was sitting down on the creek running a still off of liquor. They had that fire just right. Some of y'all might know what I'm talking about. Some of y'all, if you watch that stuff on TV, that ain't the way it really is. We kept it quite secretive up in there, and you didn't allow nobody taking pictures of you making liquor and all that. We hear somebody snap a twig in the woods, they subject to get shot, you know. But this old boy was sitting there making that liquor, and he was down in the evening, had that fire just right, and that stream coming out about half the size of a pencil. And he was hungry, and he didn't have nothing to eat. Noted he had to run that runoff, keep that fire smooth and all, and that keg a thumping. And he looked down and he seen this old water moccasin in the creek, had a big old bullfrog in his mouth. He'd coughed, and he got thinking, you know, frog legs is good eats, you know. They are. Some of y'all haven't never tried them, you know. I'm talking natural ones, not farm raised, they call them, but they're good. And like they say, it tastes like chicken, you know. Anyhow, he reached down there and got that old snake up and just jerked that frog out of his mouth, throwed the old snake back in the creek, and he took and cut around him and skinned his back legs off and put them on a stick and held them over that fire there and cooked them frog legs. And he got them done enough to eat. He sat there and ate them and picking his teeth. And he looked down and seen that old snake laying there right pitiful. He said, darn, I took his supper. I ought to give him something. So he didn't have nothing to do. He just picked him up and pinched his old mouth open and took that dipper and poured him full of that corn liquor. Throwed him back out there in the creek. About 5 minutes later, he felt something hitting up against his overall leg there, and he looked down, and that snake had brought him another frog. When I started drinking, I'd rather drink than eat too. It hit me just about the same. My wife will tell you this. When I started drinking, I was 23 years old, and I was around liquor my whole life. And went to service and all, I was 17, and never drank in there. Never drank. And but I brought up around there. I went to the same school my grandparents went to, and my wife went to a school across the creek down there. It was grades 1 through 12. And our school, the smallest, I guess, in the county. They wasn't in consolidated schools and middle schools and all that stuff. In grades 1 through 12, 150 people in the whole school. And about 9 faculty members. They done the bus driving, coaching, cooking, and whooping if you need it. You know, and teaching, and a big graduating class might be 12 people. Most of them girls, you know. Education out there, where I was brought up, I never put a big emphasis on it, you know. And I'll get to the education part. I never had a moment's problem in high school nor college, because I didn't go to neither one of them. One way you can avoid that. I'm not against education. I did have some on down the road. A lot of streetwise stuff and things like that, and you learn how to survive. But I was brought up to work hard if you wanted something. Nobody gave you nothing. And when you got 18 or 17 or whatever, you hit the road. You weren't laying around the house. None of this staying there at home and none of that. And if you wanted a car to drive, well, nobody gave you one. Nobody bought you no insurance, nothing. You went to work, got you a job, and get you some money and get you a car. And then if you got you you might get a woman when you got you a car and you ride around, because down in there everybody was kin to one another and you didn't pull that stuff around the finger there like that. They still would do some hanging, you know. But I was brought up like that to respect my elders, and still do, always have. To work hard if you wanted something, and be kind and generous to folks and help out people. And I've always tried to do that. But when I got to drinking, if I helped somebody out, I expected something back, you know. The book says if you do anything to help someone, you expect anything back, then you have received your reward, you know. I got to drink. When I took up drinking, I become selfish, self-centered, and all them things. I was quite generous, and I've always pulled for the underdog and helped folks, and some of us considered us folks up in there underdogs, you know. But I was glad that I was brought up like that, because when I got out there on that drinking that rambling liquor and carrying on liquor, it helped me survive. I didn't progress or anything in life on account of drinking. Never got healthier, richer, or anything like that. If I'd have stumbled uphill and had a sack full of money, or somebody to give me a bunch of land or money, you couldn't have never drugged me in one of these meetings. I had to go down there without nothing, except I had people that loved me. My wife sitting over here did. And she's never drank. She's been in Al-Anon for 34 years. And July 31st this year, we were married 54 years. That's a good while. You know, them $10 weddings will work. That's like Mr. Buck used to say, you know, when you're young and in love, all you need is a mattress and a box of cornflakes. Love will keep us together, you know. But she didn't marry a drunk. When I quit school and went to work under the cotton mill and left there after a while, making 90 cents an hour, and went and joined the Army. And I was young, healthy, and muscled up about like old Frank B. in a way back then. And we were brought up, all us boys like that. Weren't no fat folks around out there at family. Nobody's fat. You worked it off, I mean. And we weren't dysfunctional. If you didn't function much, you didn't eat much neither, you know. They wouldn't put up with it. You just worked, and not slave work, but I mean you worked and helped one another out. I'm glad I was brought up like that. Kind of like AA in a way, you know. We help folks. Try to become a trusted servant. But, you know, I come in from leave from Fort Bragg down the road here. Met my wife-to-be out there at celebration July the 4th in Oakboro. And we got going together when I got out of service. We got married, and all I'd ever wanted was a little old house somewhere, a decent job, and some children, healthy, good wife. To God, I didn't have a big religious upbringing. I had some kinfolks in the, I call them holy rollers and all back then. And they get into tongues and all like that. And, you know, I got speaking in tongues a year later when I drank some of that slobbering liquor. But I used to make fun of them and everything, but when they was probably some of the best kinfolks I ever had. They never belittled me on account of my drinking and carrying on. And thing, they didn't look down on my wife and youngins like some people did on account of my sorry behavior. People will do that in a small community. They'll look down on your wife and children and family members because they did mine on account of my alcoholic behavior, and they didn't ask for that or nothing. Those are things that I have to make living amends for. And we got married and everything, and I was offered this job. I wasn't looking for it, but I was offered this job on the railroad in Charlotte because I'd never been in any trouble, and I was healthy, good vision, honorably discharged, a wife, children, and they were looking for someone like me at that time, and I was fortunate. They hired me. I wasn't even looking for that job, and I went to work there from like $1 an hour to close to $400 a week at times. That's a lot of money. Union, working long, hard hours too. I mean, extra board as a brakeman, and I worked a lot. And which it didn't bother me at all. And I didn't drink. And after a year or two, well, I'd seen my first winos and stuff like that. I had seen some folks traveling around in the military, but I didn't go into them places and all where they told us not to go. And I was having a good time in life without having to drink, you know, like some of them guys. Wallace, I'm going to have to use my horse blanket, you know. We were down to the conference, and he had his white handkerchief and had the sniffles. I get them too. And he said he didn't like to do that. Then he seen me come out with this horse blanket. It didn't even bother him, you know. Anyhow, them guys, I would give them winos or hobos or whatever, and we'd have to get them out of some of them boxcars and hobos traveling around. They were drunks. And get them out of there, keep shutting the doors on them and things like that. And I felt sorry for them. When I was growing up, people that laid drunk and everything around the house, what few they were called sorry. They were doing good. And then them guys would tell me, don't. I was one of the youngest guys out there at the time. They said, don't be giving them no money. They ain't no count. They just buy them something to drink, wine and all that stuff. You know, don't give them about 50 cents or something. I felt for them. You couldn't have told me then that one day I was going to do that. I'd done the same thing. I've been in them same places or some worse. And then when I was little, growing up, them convicts out there, cutting right away and digging ditches and laying pipe. Work. Them old brown trucks with a cage on it, the Palo Pintos hanging off the side. And I'd be out there watching. Some of them then had some stripes on them where they might have run before or something. You couldn't have told me then when I was a little boy. My mama had told me about them mean people out there. So you couldn't have told me I was going to do that one day. But I wound up in places like that. In one place in Georgia. And had it not been for my wife, my mama and them scraping up money, I'd have still been in there. Paid them crooks to let me go, which I was just as bad as them. But anyhow, since I learned how not to drink, I ain't been in no trouble or nothing. Them guys are picked at me about not drinking. And Charlotte then was just beer joints, no alcohol like liquor or nothing in them. And I didn't care about them places like that, you know. And I didn't even like them guys, and still don't care for it, that messed around on the wife and stuff. And, you know, I didn't think much of it. I hear them talking about that. But they said, you know, come out and drink a few beers with us. We worked a lot of long hours. We'd get out over there on the Roswell's Ferry over there where all the working man beer joints, I call them. You know, you go in there with been off coal train dust and all like that. You can go in there and drink or dressed up. It didn't matter. I said, okay, fine. This will be one of the boys, you know. And my wife had never seen me drink. She didn't. I don't think she'd have dated me if I'd have had a beer can rolling around in that old $35 car I had. And she had went to business school. She had a business at college education, and which that was rare in that neck of the woods. But I don't think she'd even married me. Well, I drank a few beers with them. I'm going to tell you what, I started drinking alcoholically right then. And I weren't lacking in life for anything. Good wife. Our oldest son is a young little boy then, healthy, decent little house, good future, good opportunity, a lot of new friends. real friends I'd met, you know, wives and families and people that I had met on the railroad and other areas around there. But you know, I turned into a different person immediately and weren't lacking, didn't want to do that stuff. I don't blame all my sorry behavior on alcohol, but most of it was. And I started drink right off the bat, drinking infidelity liquor, you know, and stuff like, and lying liquor. And my wife said, "Where you been? Because she didn't know what to think of me coming in like that. Now, I weren't carrying on hooping and hollering and slapping her around. I've never laid a hand on my wife since our marriage, never. But she's warped me in the head a few times, trying to get my attention. She didn't know about alcoholism neither. She would have sought help from me way back. She enabled and about loved me to death through the years, and some of y'all have been down that road and probably go down it again. I hope not. I didn't know about alcoholism. If you could have showed me what was going to happen in our life, as so many do. You know, I do regret a lot of those things that went on, but I make living amends, and I don't anymore. I don't shut the door on them. But if you could have showed me just some of what's going to happen, I would have said, I'm getting out of this place. I ain't coming back. But it pulled me in like a spider pulling a fly in the nest or something. It just pulled me in. I couldn't wait. We worked a lot of long hours, weekends and all that stuff. Dangerous work, hard, but they paid us good. I couldn't wait to get off from there to go to them joints and hang around. And used to, at times before, I couldn't wait to get off to go home with my wife and young son. That little boy that... After a while of that carrying on, one time I was drinking some confessing liquor too, you know. They still sell that stuff, and I felt guilty about my behavior. And my wife, they asked me this and that, and I just tell her the truth, you know. And that's not well received. And try to make amends about drunk, they're not well received either. You know, they can't trust you. My wife lost total trust, but she didn't know about alcoholism. She would have probably called up the AA team or what to come and get me or send me off, and I wish, looking back, had she done it. That little boy of ours, I lost my driving license for drunk driving way back then after my wife had left and got her apartment in Charlotte. And that little boy growed up. He got his driving license before I got mine. He brought me to some AA meetings, and this boy was like 3-year-old. So you don't need no license till the law stops you, you know. They got to stop me quite often. But what I looking back on, didn't know at the time, I come to realize that through this program, these steps, higher power helped me look at my life honestly through guidance. That what I was doing was running from reality, running from responsibility and accountability. I knew that I couldn't drink like I wanted to, that it pulled me to drink and work and be responsible and do the things that a person even not married should do. I couldn't do that. So I said, so I made my choice. I'll just go drink. And then I run. I take off. I worked resignation, left on good terms, started rambling, drinking rambling liquor. And become what you'd call nowadays a deadbeat dad. Times they didn't know where I was at. I could have been dead and gone. I rambled around, rode long hair, beards at time, and old hippie clothes. I was a redneck hippie rambling all over, and communes, concerts, and all kind of crap like that. Ain't no good for nobody. But I was running, but then I didn't know how to stop, couldn't, and become an educated atheist, I thought. And then when I got in AA, they told me about atheism. They said, "Harold, you know how many atheists are in hell?" I said, "No, I don't." They said, "There ain't none. When they get there, they come to believe." I come to believe. That last drunk of mine, I come to believe. You know, that's what it took. But cousin of mine died on account of he couldn't handle that. He killed himself a few years ago. Been sober a few years, but he stayed atheist. And I guess some can, but it wouldn't work for me with those idiot ideas in my head. But you know, I didn't know how to stop drinking. I would try different things here and there, and I got drinking that hospitalizing liquor, and all of it puking liquor, lying liquor. Then got into fighting liquor and cutting liquor and shooting liquor, and I got to the point I didn't trust nobody that had driving license and teeth. Maybe some kind of narc or something, you know what I mean. Do good. I got to where I didn't like nobody that had a bunch of money, till I found out that poor folks weren't hiring much. Because I didn't have none of them things. It was on account of my alcoholism. Took it all. And what my wife would work 2 or 3 jobs. And I would always work when I was physically able. It physically put me in shock back from alcohol. Hospitals, critical shape, all that cut, all that stuff. My wife worked. She retired from the hospital there, her last job, and she'd see them in there sewing me, and somebody on the next bed, blood running off, didn't know. Sometimes I was a whooper, and sometimes I was a whoopee. You know, it works both ways. And what I was hating the whole world because I wasn't happy, and I felt so guilty, but I did not know how to stop. Had no God to call on. Sometimes a foxhole prayer, maybe. You know, one of them, or one my wife said, or kinfolks, or some old woman I cussed out or done wrong, side the road or something. One of them prayers, or a bunch of them, got me to this program. AA found me. I didn't find it. I almost hooked up with Hadley Krishna one time, you know, out in California. Drank a lot of ramen liquor. Telling a young man out here in Texas, I said, yeah, I'd wake up on a bridge in Texas or somewhere and look at car tags to see what state I was in. And in different countries even. And good to God that I didn't have no understanding of, got me out of them places. Got me, helped me stay alive with the help of others. And this program found me. I'll get on. Life's been so much better, I'm sure it is with anyone. If you don't have any gratitude for something that saved your life and got you out of that misery, probably got some more drinking in you. And talking about those, I went back out of 9 months sobriety and drank for a couple of days while I'm in the hospital. That's when I surrendered. What it was, I was holding on to some old ideas. And that book talks about that, and they read that. Some of us have tried to hold on to some old ideas, and the results was nil. And half measures, to me, don't avail me 50% sobriety. It will avail me 100% drunk. And I believe it will y'all too. You know, if you hanging on to them old ideas, I pray that you let go of them, because my life and my family's life did not get any better until that happened. And I look back and I let go of them old ideas. Them old ideas got me back out there. I was thinking, well, after 2 or 3 years, I could probably drink some beer, 2 beers. I never drank 2 beers, you know. 2 beers would make me mad. But if you got into them, and I'm sure, or I've had friends, I'm sure, they say, well, I'll drink a few more beers. I'll go back and get me a white chip next week. I helped carry some of them to the grave. And had I went and continued and God didn't intervene through people to let me see a better way, if I worked for it, I would have been one of them statistics too. AA found me an old boy I hadn't seen in years, and he'd been on the chain gang a half a dozen times before I started drinking. God put him in my life. He passed away not long back, a year or so, 37 years sobriety. But he, a good friend. He was a rough one, I'm going to tell you. But he come up, and I was going on this job to go to work, and he'd come down there too to go to work. And he had teeth and driving license, and a car with a legal tag with some windows in it, and pieces of chrome on it. I figured he'd done joined up with Jim Baker or somebody, you know. And I figured he was going to lay the Bible on me or something like that. That's what I figured when I seen him, because used to I'd see him teeth beat out, cut, out of a honeysucker ticket. He couldn't even go in them liquor houses that I could go in and had credit at. They wouldn't even let him in there. I seen him cut his way into one time with a hawk bill to get in there, to get a drink. It didn't matter if he got killed. And there he was. God put him, I hadn't seen him in 5 or 6 years. And there he was, all shined up and all, and he didn't preach to me nary a bit. If he'd have laid something like that on me, I'd have probably booked. But he said, let me give you a ride, Harold. We're going to work down here, and you ain't got no license, I know. Because everybody knew in that small town, and because they put your name in the paper. Sometimes my picture, too, you know. One judge said that I was a chronic, acute alcoholic. There was no help for people like me in the universe. Now, that's pretty deep there, you know. Where you going to go? Come to find out, a drunk had run off with his wife, and he had to file bankruptcy. He had one of them resentments. You know? We didn't use that word resentment around them liquor houses and beer joints and stuff like that. We just go up and work on their heads, you know what I mean. Redneck resentment. We just give them a tune-up or get one. I had friends in lower places, and I'd feel sorry for them old boys laying there on them old rotten couches, wet on the front and messed up in the back. I'd go off and get into something, get bailed out of jail, and my wife would scrape up money and come get me. And I'd go back to that liquor house 2 or 3 days later. He'd be still laying there on the porch. And I'm thinking, more if I get that bad, I'd quit this mess. He hadn't bothered nobody, just his clothes, you know what I mean? He hadn't went out and got into nothing. He was laying there. And, you know, maybe $2 a pint or something like that. That's all. But I could have killed a lot of people. I was a threat to society out there the way I carried on. Didn't care, didn't fear. Walk up to a police, dare him to shoot me. And just didn't care if he did. I mean, that's the way I felt. That's a horrible way to be. God got me out of that through this man, guided me. I got drunk out of where he was taking me to work, and I wound up my detox. And Betty B passed along not long back. We were at her funeral about a year ago. She took me. She had over 45 years when she passed. She took me from the first AA meeting. And guess what a speaker was up there? Fellow standing up there. He was a highway patrolman, but he had on regular clothes, because if I'd have seen him at the door, I wouldn't have went in there. And he was telling stuff like that. Boy, I wanted to jump up and run and cut him, you know what I mean? He was drunk and taking in people and locking them up or drunk driving, and then he'd blow the breathalyzer and blow more than they did. Boy, that's some hypocrites now, I'm telling you. But he was alcoholic. He was telling those things. That's okay. I've said it. Some of them people at one patrolman's house had coffee before. They come down and they have no. I'm glad they got police and all. Like I seen this bumper sticker said, if you don't like the police, the next time somebody's breaking in your house, how about calling a hippie? You know? that'll work. Yeah. I seen another one down there, but this gal probably had a resentment. She had a bumper sticker on this old farm truck. Big old robust gal had a pack of Camels rolled up under her t-shirt. Had a bumper sticker on it that said, grow your own dope, plant a man. She had one of the resentments of it. I stayed far away from her. But you know, when I finally surrendered, and here's the thing that got me back. I lay there in that hospital room, and I felt about that big. You know, when you had the new, even though I didn't have a higher power like them other people did in life, I still loved AA, and I knew I fit in when I got there. Them old boys carried on and done like me, and I could relate. God let me relate to the right one. Now, some I seen there with them clothes on, kind of like I got, with a car, a nice Cadillac or something. I wonder, what in the world them folks are doing in here? They ain't got no business in here. No, it don't make no difference if you come from Yale or jail. It don't matter. But they could. I was up there, and they come in that hospital room, them old timers. Not in so many years. They've been sober a long time, and come in there and from our little old group, And kind of felt so horrible, you know, laying there. That picture of the man on the bed, that's me and a lot of y'all. If you know anybody like that anywhere, they don't got to be in the bed, they can be drunk, go see them. And what they done was, they said, we need you to come back, Harold. I said, you need me? What you need me for? I mean, I would have, my pride wouldn't let me go back. And they said, we need you. We believe you can get sober and help some people. And had they not told me that, I would have went on home, my pride, and I'd have laid around, I might not drank, but I probably would have. So if you know anybody anywhere like that, don't feel bad about calling them or go see them. And tell them, hey, even if they're missing meetings, you don't have to worry, we don't worry, it's up to them to fess up about drinking or not. Tell them you need them. And that's the truth too, you won't be lying to them, you do need them. You do need them. And they told me that, and I couldn't wait to get back. And that doctor told me that his father had started the dancing group. He was a doctor also, and he's not an alcoholic. He's still living. He become my doctor then, that last Trump. He's retired now, but he said, Harold, I'm going to let you go home a day early. But go back, you go back down there and you get you one of them chips. They got better medicine down there than we got in this whole hospital for people like you. And that's a good doctor to tell you that. And he was telling the truth. He knew what was the medicine I needed. It was AA medicine and a high pine. When I surrendered there, things started getting better. And my wife, she'd been in Al-Anon, and she went there for me to start with. It was a very short time. She found out she went there for herself. And she's been going regularly ever since. The longest I've been, over 33 years, without a meeting is 4 days. And that was when I had a heart attack a few years ago, and they brought some meetings to the hospital for me. I don't play hooky. My wife, she don't play hooky from Al-Anon. If you're going to be in something, just kind of like a job, you need to show up there and do things. And I try to do stuff like that. Because they've done so much for me, I can't pay all the folks for, never break even. I hope I don't never break even or get complacent or rest on my laurels as it talks about. I hope I don't do it. I stay active and everything, and I've had a great time in AA. We're fortunate, my wife and I, our 2 sons, we have 2 sons. Neither one of them's taken that drinking. Didn't marry drunks or dopers, and their kids is being brought up right. They work hard and stuff, and that's rare nowadays with young people, but we're so fortunate. See, the incentive for that too is like Charles Stanley said a few years ago on TV one morning. So, cycles can be broken, and you can be the start of that cycle. And that started, I've seen that already, no longer than I've been around, started in our family. Looking back on it, it runs in our family. Alcoholism, you used to think it's just heavy drinkers, or just crazy when they get drinking. He said something else one time on there. He said, when a man dies, if he's got 10 true friends, he's a very successful person. You do know that. I told my wife, I said, when AA and Al-Anon found us, we become successful. I don't mean about dollars and things. If you got 10 true friends, everybody in here is very successful. And you might not realize it. You might be kind of new, not realize that. But there's over 10 people in here. If you were called, they'll probably help you or talk to you. They will. They can't hunt you down and beat the door down and drag you out by the hair of the head and do it. You got to put a little effort. People will help you. I could pick up the phone and go out in the car and get it and use it and pick it up. So I need some help. I'm over here in Southern Pine. I need some help. They'd be swarming over here, a bunch of them, and wouldn't ask for no money, no kind of nothing. Stuff like that. One time we go to a lot of fellowships and things like that and little conferences through the years. Our old car blowed up, which it was a good minivan. It blowed down about 20 miles from Myrtle Beach. Picked up the phone, here come a whole load of them, drug all our junk out and piled it in there and went to the room, pitched all the keys out there and said, here, go where you want to. We stayed a week then. I mean, we always stay of the week at that one little motel we used to rent up there. About 50 of us would go from Albemarle. Now you're lucky to get 3 or 4 to go down there. I can't say, so I ain't got the money. I said, well, how much is that high price talk box you taking there? About $250 a month. You know what I mean? It's called Priorities. But I've got friends all over, people I ain't never met, and I don't feel less than anywhere I go. And not just in meetings, but other organizations and out in the store. If I'm dirty or something, my shoes is a little dirty, and I've been working, you know. I ain't been working for the chain gang. I ain't been out stealing. I've been working. I try to clean up when I go places, but you know, a fella's gonna get dirty. Used to for years. I worked late, and my wife would get off the hospital at 7. We never eat supper till 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night. Never. We went to the meetings from work, and sometimes if I had time, I'd go home and shower up and clean up. I've worked for myself most of the time since I've been sober. I was blessed. God left me enough brains and a few natural talents, and I learned to increase the ability to do those things. And I was never stayed caught up, never got rich, never got turned down big money for some jobs too, because it would have took me away from places I couldn't win the meetings. So, a lot of money, and my wife said, no, you wouldn't get the meetings. She's not selfish, you see. But we've never went hungry. We never owned anything, you know, except an old car or something like that. And we own a place and land, and we bought it, house, and built stuff around there, and shop, and nothing on credit. Green in, green out. And we've been debt free for 25, 28 years. You know, it ain't got a sack full of money, but we get by. Never put that one time a man in 1980 something offered me like $100,000 a year to go to work for him, sitting right there at our little table in a rental house. And he was a multi-millionaire, and I done work for their company, and he wanted me to go and travel the world and do special one-offs at these special suites and hotels and things like that. And I mean, my wife, she said, that won't work. You know, you won't get no meetings all over the world. Come home every now and then. That's unselfishness, you know. A lot of them, yeah, you better take a hold of that, you know what I mean? We didn't let none of those things, but God let us get by, and we didn't have to struggle. I ain't seen no drunk nowhere in the years I've been around that starved to death. Not a one of them. Not a one of them around here that starved to death. You know, there's people to help you as long as you're willing to help yourself. But we are blessed to have been found by AA and good people. And this old man that told me we need you back, she with my wife's sponsor, she passed, and we were there when she passed, and then he passed on too. And, people like that, all people in this room are good folks. Everybody got good in them, and I think still see a lot of bad things, especially with all this networking, social stuff you can see everywhere. We see it. It's been going on a long time, but I still think there's a lot more good in the world than there is bad. I personally do. There's a lot more good. I'm glad that I didn't look at things like that. I hated the world because I wasn't happy, and I was making other people miserable, and I hated myself for doing those things. And I don't dwell in that, but I see people out there behaving, doing things now, and I want to go shake them and all, but I'm like, you know, I used to be worse than that. I used to do things a lot worse than that. And AA is a decent way of living for me. Like I say, we try to practice them principles in our affairs, you know, and ask God daily to help us. Thank Him tonight, through the day too. And I hope you don't ever get too busy to help somebody like me. You might be the only fella in here I know that I can call on, and I hope you're sober to help me, because I don't want you to say, no, I'm drunk tonight, I can't help you. You know what I mean? And I hope that I'm able to do that too. If anywhere anybody reaches out for help, I want to be of help. I'm on a CIO plan today. Everybody I see, I owe. Not dollars, but respect, dignity, kindness, being courteous if I can. A lot of things I don't like, but I don't have resentments toward anything that I know of. I got a lot of mislikes, dislikes of things, that go on, but I don't carry resentments. I was fortunate, I didn't have a lot of resentments. I come to recognize in them steps. People didn't pour liquor in me. People didn't make me do it. When I took to drinking, it just turned me into things like that. I've done all that. No, I wasn't blaming. I wasn't blaming on my family and all kinds of things. Nobody mistreated my loving wife. She didn't mistreat me and everything, And I'm very fortunate. I gained a whole new respect for a lot of people that I had prejudice bias for way years back. Things wouldn't be like this, wouldn't be and all. I grumble about certain things and all. Some people's behavior, and I think, especially if you're drinking or drugging or whatever. Yeah, I want to get my drug story out of the way right quick. One time I traded 5 pounds of marijuana for 1 pint of cheap red liquor. I tell you, right there, that does it. But I dabbled in a few other things, And I had some good friends, took off drinking and got into some other things. And they're dead. And over at Stanley County, where I'm from, for 4 months in a row, #1 deaths in North Carolina, all 100 counties, from opiate overdose. That's kind of pitiful. That's nothing to brag about, but that's a fact. That little county over there is just, I don't know what it is. And some of them just started out drinking. I've had some good friends. They used to be just plain old drunks. But they kind of eased over in that, and it can happen. Or vice versa. You could get off of that and say, well, I'll just drink, and then, but I've seen a lot, and it tickles me to death to see anyone in here young. I was 39 when I got to AA, and I was only 23. I was 23 when I started drinking, so I didn't drink as long as Doc over here and all them years, what I mean? He's one of them Yankees that, I reckon up there it's cold and all, you got to go in there and just drink all the time, But anyhow, he was telling me outside it, quite a few years there, but I didn't have that long a time. But I tell you what, a lot happened in there, in that time, a lot. And people in that little old town and all now, I've got one old drinking buddy that's alive. One, that's all. Few of them died sober, the rest of them pretty tragic on account of drinking. Some of my best running buddies, they're dead. And I see their children, and some of them's in the program, and some of them's in the penitentiary on account of their drinking, and it's very sad. But I appreciate you folks, Waylon, for asking me down. It's nice to be asked to come back somewhere rather than, don't you come back, we'll shoot you if we see you. That's happened before. I've been met at the door, not places like this, with a pistol, and said, we told you, and I don't remember them telling me in them places like that, and didn't care if they did, really, and I don't have to live like that anymore. My wife, she went out to great extremes to try to help me, and about loved me to death, enabling out of love and curing and stuff. I drank a lot of that, go get a loaf of bread and come back a year later liquor. No intention. Take a few drinks, gone. Come back. Nowadays, these women don't do that. It's a throwaway society. They'll cull you out on about one of them trips, or less. But and she should have back then. But she's seen the good in me before. If you see anybody around this program, you see the good in them. If they get out and get in all them things, it wasn't them. Probably it was the stuff they put in them, So don't look down and I hope I don't never get so good to where I can't help someone that's trying to help themselves, and tell them, yeah, we need you back. If y'all see me anywhere or hear about me or read about me laying drunk, how about calling me up or come see me and tell me you need me back? Because I probably won't come back. Everybody's got another drunk in them, but you might not have another chance to sober up. I've seen that for a fact, I, again, thank you. Thank you for having us over here. And y'all come over to Albemarle, and Steve and a lot of you other boys around here know how to get over there. We're meeting uptown now across from the little old courthouse in Albemarle there at a temporary facility right uptown now until we get our building patched up. It'll take us maybe, sometimes, like one old boy said, it's easy to load the wagon. Sometimes it's hard to hook the mules up. I'm looking at these boards over here. Y'all done got a lot in the harness ready to pull. And that's great. This stuff here I see on there. I told Bill a couple times we was over here, and I said, we need more of that enthusiasm than we over there at our place. And we do. And it's our fault, I guess, and it's coming like that. But we get on. That is my home group. I try to do the best I can. But we'll get that building back in shape. But anytime y'all get over there, you look up, call me or anyone. We'll tell you how to get a meeting over there, And I look forward to seeing y'all. And God bless every one of you. Thank you.